Thank you to Denise O'Malley and Unifying Wellness for putting on this mindful minute. I don't know where you are today. I know what kind of day it's been for me. And I've talked to a bunch of other people, and it's been an interesting day. So I think thus far already, there's been a lot going on. Not sure if it's the new moon in September, not sure if it's the explosions on the sun that clearly impact what we're doing. Just look it up on the research part. So today I want to do something that might actually be more expected than what we have done thus far. And what I want to do today is really a very brief detox the mind idea. Normally I teach that either in a day or over a month, because we have a lot of stuff in our heads. Now, during our workday, during our regular day, whether you're working at home, you're going out working, you're spending time with family members, taking care of them, there are days where it's just ready to explode. And it seems to me that this is one of those days. So wherever you are right now, if you're in the office, if you're at home, you can do a number of things to get ready. One, you might want to put in a headset, okay? Just in case you are in a work environment where others might hear what's going on. On the other hand, you might not want to use a headset and bring everybody in, because if you're a little stressed, others might be too. Then, if you have the ability, you might want to turn on a little bit of music. The music is not crucial for what we're doing today, what I'm guiding you, but it is very, very helpful sometimes that you have that meditation background music. There are lots and lots of recordings for meditation music. You'll find the one that you like, or use symphonies, okay? All of those have been proven to actually help the mind relax. There's also very important, the coherence factor. So if you ever feel a little stressed, this is the only last tip before we dive into detoxing, 0.1 megahertz frequency, coherence frequency, really, really helps. Okay, then if you have something you want to hold on to, like, this, a rosary, a crystal, perfect. When I ask you to put your feet on the floor, there's a reason for that, and it might be different from what you're normally used to when it comes to meditation, but put your feet on the floor. The reason why I recommend doing that sometimes, not all the time, is because it helps us stay grounded. And if you're sitting in your office and you're sitting in the lotus position, people might look at you a little funny because you are still at work, okay? And it's also a little harder if you have to go to a different location in your office, whether it's the bathroom, whether it's your car, to do the lotus position. Also, please know, meditation does not require any specific seating or laying. It really is meant for you to have time with you. And so when we're detoxing the mind, what we're going to try and do, as always, is first going to put our hand on our heart and our tummy. Don't worry about how big or small it is. Okay. Close our eyes. We want to take a deep breath in. We want to hold it to the count of 3. And then you're going to release it out of your mouth. Preferably, if you take in your breath to the count of 3, you want to release it to at least the count of 5. When we do it again, the reason why I'm going to ask you today to breathe out through the mouth is because if you're breathing out through your mouth, you can almost hear something like, and if you make that sound, even better. And then, of course, you can shake out your hands a little bit. So while you're breathing like that, the breath of life is always important. And I ask you just to put your hands somewhere. Now, if you want to hold your rosary or your little bracelet or a crystal or one of your pens, whatever gives you comfort, perfectly fine. If not, I recommend that you put your hands into your lap, palms facing up. And then you're just going to close your eyes and you're going to just focus for a moment on the breath. So we're going to take a deep breath in. Let's say count of 3, and you're going to hold it to the count of 3. And then you're going to release it out of your mouth. And now I just want you to focus on your breath. And your breath is going to become really, really a part of its own. It's going to find its own rhythm. So I want you just to observe your breath as it is now moving in and out of your body. We always need something to focus on because otherwise our minds go crazy. And since we were talking about detoxing the mind, so while I'm talking, just pay close attention to your breath, not changing it, not emphasizing it, not doing any of that. Just observe it, pay attention to it. That's sort of your anchor right now. And so while you're breathing in and out, there might be thoughts that come up because this may have been a day where stuff happened. Maybe you had an argument with somebody. If you're at work, maybe a whole bunch of calls came in. They were all not of the kindest, and you have to deal with them. Maybe your coworker is sick and you were asked to do that person's work as well, which you normally don't mind, but it's just that kind of day. Maybe something happened at home as well. I'm just putting everything on top of each other. So while you're breathing now, I want you to think of something positive. And when I say think of something positive, I don't mean think of something positive like the sun is shining. That's a good start. But I want you to think of something positive about yourself. Not something you do for others, but something positive about yourself that you appreciate about yourself. That might be kind of difficult for some of us. So what is the one thing that comes to your mind without thinking about it that you appreciate about yourself, that is for yourself and about yourself? And when you grasp that thought, I want you to hold on to it. And when you see that, I want you to imagine that it's sort of in front of you, it's standing right in front of you. Continue observing your breath. This positive thing might be that I have beautiful eyes. I have a beautiful voice. I am kind. I have a great laugh. Whatever it might be. I want you to picture that sort of in front of you. And then I want you to imagine that you're putting that on a big yellow Post-it note, like huge, humongous Post-it note. Okay? Which means you're now going to lift one of your hands, the one that you write with. You're going to literally pretend that you're writing it on that Post-it note. Okay, so write it on that Post-it note. I want you to move your arms and write this one very, very positive thing about you. Now I want you to fold up, really make the motion of folding up this huge poster-like note, fold it up, and then it's going to become teeny tiny, nicely folded. Once you put it in your hands, in between your hands, and then you want to put it, while it's still in one of the palms of your hands, I want you to put it towards your heart. You're going to put both hands over your heart. And within this process, anything else comes up, like the stuff, or whether it might be a question such as, was that the phone ringing? Or did I turn off the oven? If anything comes up other than you, your breath, and your humongous, now nicely folded note, I want you to acknowledge that thought and literally speak to it. Say, thank you. I'll deal with you later. And this is a very important procedure to acknowledge those thoughts. And with your hands over your heart, and that little post-it note there, imaginary post-it note, you're going to take a deep breath in. And while you're taking a deep breath in, you're going to say to yourself whatever's on that note. And then you're going to hold it. And you're going to repeat it while you're holding it. And now when you breathe out, if you're by yourself, you can actually shout it. If you're not, imagine that you're shouting out this amazing thing about yourself to the world while you're breathing out. And then you're going to take your hands off your heart. You're going to hold that post-it note in your hand. And you're going to put it in your pocket. If you don't have a pocket, ladies, you might put it in your bra. If you don't have a bra, you might put it in your hat. I don't care where you put it, but you want to put it someplace close to you. You want to remember where you put it so that whenever you have a stressful day, you can take it back out. And now that you've put it away, you're going to put your hands back wherever they were, possibly just facing upwards on your legs, on your upper thighs, or you might need to hold something in your hand again. And then you're going to take a deep breath in. You're going to hold it, and you're going to take a deep breath out. And then, depending on where your hands were located, where your feet are located, I want you to wiggle your fingers. I want you to wiggle your toes a little bit and slowly, very slowly open your eyes. And then when your eyes are open, the last piece of advice that I'm going to give you, which I mentioned while we were doing this exercise, is there's this thing about thoughts. And this is why we're talking about beginning to detox the mind. Okay? Whatever you don't acknowledge is going to come back to you. And I'm just talking here about this part. I'm not talking about the law of attraction. Okay? So when you're trying to focus on something and little thoughts pop up, they will not go away because they want to be acknowledged. Oh, maybe it's just like this little fly that's trying to catch your attention. Unless you acknowledge that thought and say, oh, thank you, there you are. Thank you for the reminder. I will deal with you later. You sort of are hitting the snooze button on those thoughts. Okay? If you don't hit the snooze button, It's going to keep blinking, ringing, whatever. And we don't want this when we're trying to get rid of those thoughts so that we can return to calm and clarity, to let go of the stressful things that happened. So I recommend that you do this little exercise. I don't know, I think we spend maybe about 10 minutes on this. Every time you get a little stressed. And if you don't have the chance because you're in a meeting and it's getting stressful and you're like beginning to feel overwhelmed, just imagine, pretend, see yourself as picking up that little note that you just folded and put in a safe space somewhere right around your body. Open it back up, look at it, say it to yourself, and put it away. Nobody has to know what you're doing, but it will help keep some of the negative stuff away and clear your mind, at least for the time being. And that's really what the mindful minute is all about. Being able in a short period of time to release a little bit of stress. And if you do that every day, you will be amazed at the results. So I hope that helped a little. It's just a beginning introduction to how to think about detoxing the mind. There's a lot more to it. And in the next few mindful minutes, we'll dig a little deeper. If you've got any questions, you know how to reach me. And if you've got any questions for You Define Wellness and all the other offerings that Denise O'Malley's bringing to you, check it out, because You Define Wellness is here to figure out how to help you be well and happy. All right. I shall see you for the next Mindful Minute.